Hello you guys, welcome to or back to my channel. My name is Savannah and I post a lot of fun bookish related videos on this channel. I'm kind of thinking about doing Bookmas, so please let me know in the comments if that's something you guys would be interested in. I think I could maybe post a video every other day leading up to Christmas from like December 2nd through December 24th. I don't know, this sounds like a fun challenge. I need to put this coffee down and put my mic on. Okay, now I'm hands-free and ready to go. You can probably tell by the title, but today's video is not going to end until I have read 100 books. I haven't really been paying attention to my Goodreads goal this year, as I did want to focus more on just enjoying reading rather than trying to hit a certain number. But I looked at it yesterday and saw that I have read 97 books so far in 2025. And I happen to be in the middle of, or at least partway through, 3 different books right now. So if I can complete all 3 of those books in today's video, I will have read 100 books for the year of 2025. So yeah, that's the theme of today's video. Let's briefly go over everything I've started. It's really not typical for me to be in the middle of this many books, but when I finished Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig, I started a bunch of different things just to kind of see what was going to stick, because I was really scared I was going to enter a book slump after finishing that little series because I loved it so much. Okay, the first book that I'm currently in the middle of is The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen. This is the first book in a fantasy series. I think there'll be like 8 books in this series, but they're all split up into duologies. So this first book is technically a duology with the second book, the third book is a duology with the fourth book, and so on. First book, we're following Lara, who is a princess of her kingdom. Her and her sisters were raised to essentially become the perfect bride for their father to marry off to a king from another country in order to help their home country politically. So obviously Lara and her sisters did not have a very wonderful upbringing, since that was the primary focus of it, but Lara does end up becoming the daughter who gets married off to the king of Ithacana, and she is sent there under a guise of like a peace treaty, but really she's there to completely undermine the kingdom. It's a very interesting setup. I'm finding this one very easy to read and fly through, and I am on chapter 30 and have like 120 pages left of this one. Next book I started is a fiction book. It's called Go as a River by Shelley Reed. This one starts in the year of 1948. I have gotten up to chapter 4, which is page 39. The main thing I've noticed about this book is that I find it to be incredibly beautifully written. We're following Victoria, who is 17 years old and has had quite a traumatic past. One day she meets Wilson Moon and is automatically enthralled by him, but I can already tell there's gonna be a lot of barriers that keep them from being together, because I believe that Wilson is Native American, and already Victoria's family, who I assume are white, have been very racist towards him. This is what I mean by I find the writing to be very beautiful. This is only page 14, and it says, "He would teach me how true a life emptied of all but its essentials could feel, and that when you get down to it, not much mattered outside of the determination to go on living." The idea had not previously occurred to me, that someone could see into the heart of things, and there you'd be. I stood on the dusty flophouse steps feeling transparent, held up to the light in a way I never imagined before meeting Wilson Moon. I have a very strong feeling that this one's gonna make me cry. And then lastly, because I always like a variation when I'm reading, we've got some fantasy, we've got some fiction, and I am also listening to a little Christmas themed romance. I don't have the physical copy of this one, I just have the audiobook. I've been listening to it on my drives to and from work, which has been really fun and has put me in such a cozy mood. It's In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. And in this book, our main character is May, and every year for Christmas, her family, and her family friends all go to this cabin and spend the week there just having the most magical Christmassy, cozy time ever. One year, their trip starts off like any other until it ends with her parents' friends who own the cabin, letting everybody know that that's gonna be the final trip, because unfortunately they have to sell the cabin. May and her family are then driving to the airport to fly home when they get in a car crash. May knocks out and then wakes up a week earlier on the plane to the cabin. So there's a bit of a Groundhog's Day situation going on. May keeps finding herself reliving that trip from the start. And obviously she's trying to figure out why that's happening, while at the same time, there's a childhood friends to lovers trope playing out between her and this guy, Andrew, who she spends every Christmas with. So yeah, that's actually gonna be the first book that I'll finish because it's the one that I'm closest to finishing. So I figured let's just finish that one up. So I will let you guys know my final thoughts of In a Holidays once I'm one book closer to completing 100 books for the year of 2025. Okay, it unfortunately gets dark so early now, but I did finish. I forgot what it was called. In a Holidays. And I have thoughts to share. That was very dramatic. I think this book is like a 3.5 for me. I loved all of the characters and the found family aspect they had all together. This book really just felt like a warm, cozy Christmas hug. There were so many fun wintry activities they did, whether it was building snowmen, going sledding. So it really just made me excited to do all those type of things myself. And I know I mentioned that this book had that kind of Groundhog's Day trope, and I think that trope can typically be annoying. However, I did not find it annoying in this scenario. I think it was because the book was super fast paced and didn't feel like it was dragged on too much or like I was reading the same thing over and over again, because I wasn't. Now the love interest. The love interest was named Andrew. He had green eyes, listened to 80s music, and loved horror movies. And that is literally my boyfriend Andrew, so I did love that aspect of the book and had a big connection to it there. However, as the book went on, I found myself a bit more invested in that Groundhog's Day plot than I was in the romance plot. Our main character, May, was very confused about what she wanted out of life. And while I was reading those romance plotlines progressing, I found myself thinking, I kind of want to get back to finding out what's going on with this magical groundhog situation, and is May going to figure out what she wants to do for work and what she's going to find fulfillment in. So that was interesting. It was also super cheesy. There was a kissing under the mistletoe scene. But like, what can you expect? It's a Christmas romance book. But yeah, it did oddly go downhill a little bit for me once the two main characters got together. But I would definitely recommend reading it if you're looking for a fun Christmas romance book. And now I have read 98 books this year. Hello, you guys. I just made tea and it's still steaming. Can you see? Oh, this isn't gonna work. All right, that's much better. Since we last chatted, I have finished The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen. I genuinely don't remember what thoughts I've already shared about this one. My washing machine's being really loud right now. Let's give it a second. Overall, I enjoyed it, but I don't think I was as engaged or as immersed in the story as I thought I would be or as I wanted to be. I did really like the atmosphere. It was kind of dark and rainy and stormy. The Kingdom of Ithacana, where the majority of this book takes place, is kind of like a rainforest vibe. There's actually also a lot of snakes, which I didn't love. You know, I think what it is the plot was very interesting to me, but I didn't find myself connected with the characters. And connecting with the characters is something that's really important to me when I read stories. Honestly, I'd maybe even say it's more important than the plot for my personal reading tastes. I did like how the writing was super easy to understand and kind of fly through. Sometimes fantasy books can be very dense and take a while to comprehend, which is totally fine if that's what you're in the mood for. But when you're in the mood for one like this, it's really nice to have the option of just a really easily digestible fantasy. One thing I did like is it said, Ithacana and its king bent to nothing and no one, but he bent for her. Now, I don't know if this is because of the title of the second book in this series, but I do feel like Erin likes Laura more than she likes him. I don't know, I will be reading the second book though, because I want to know what's going to happen. Book 99 of the year, check. Now it's time to complete book 100. So in Go as a River, I have gotten up to part 3, page 195. I've annotated a bit more because I'm still finding this writing so beautiful. But a lot of very tragic, traumatic things are happening in this book. Our main character's brother is just an absolutely disgusting human being. But this is a very beautiful story of female resilience, as I feel like historical fiction books tend to be, but maybe I'm just thinking of Kristen Hanna books. I feel like if you like Kristen Hanna books, you'd like this book. But like I said, so many horrible, traumatic things have happened to our main character. But now that we have gotten to part 3, it kind of feels like maybe things will start to look up. Like, I really hope so, because this poor girl deserves it. Part 2 ends with this quote that I underlined. I figured that if my trees could survive, uprooted and against all odds, then damn all bad fortune, so too could I. So it's like, okay, hopefully something good's gonna happen. But yeah, I feel like a lot of really big things also happened super fast. Like there was a whirlwind romance that just like happened, then was over and done with. And I kind of thought that was gonna be a part of the whole story, but it was literally just, well, okay. As the reader, it's not a part of the whole story, but for our main character, it is a part of her whole story that she will carry on with her for the rest of her life, if that makes sense. I'm gonna finish this one. I think I might listen to the audiobook while I do my nails. Cynthia Farrell is the name of the audiobook reader, and she is a great audiobook narrator. Okay, let's try and finish this book before the sun goes down. Okay, you guys, it is the next day, but I have now finished Go as a River by Shelley Reed, and I'm kind of excited to talk about it with you guys because my feelings are rather conflicted. On one end of things, as I keep saying, I absolutely adored the writing. The way Shelley Reed crafted sentences in this book just really clicked for me. What didn't really click for me was the story itself, which is so interesting to say because this is some of my favorite writing I've ever read, but definitely not one of my favorite stories I've ever read. I think I'm maybe just coming to the conclusion that I am not a big fan of historical fiction. I know last time I was talking about this book, I was hoping that in part 3, things would start to look up for our main character. They didn't really, but then they kind of did. We were introduced to another character, which is arguably the best character in this book. Her name is Zelda, and she befriends our main character, Victoria, and it was very nice to see Victoria actually have a good friend by the end of this book. I'm trying to put into words why the content of this story just wasn't for me, and I think it was just a lot of trauma. I feel like stories can have a lot of depth and be incredibly emotional without having this level of gut-wrenching trauma. I don't know. I can totally understand why this is a lot of people's favorite books. It was really well written. The thing about the ending is, I honestly really like when movies, other pieces of media, are left a little bit open-ended, so it's up to the reader or the viewer to decide how they think it ended. However, I think I kind of wanted a little bit more from the ending of this book. Anyways, as you guys can tell, I'm feeling very conflicted, so I don't really know what to rate this one, but it is my 100th book of 2025, so let's go on Goodreads and mark it as read. Yay, look at that confetti. Anyways, thanks so much for coming along with me while I made it up to 100 books read in 2025. To recap, what did we even read? We finished In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. I think I gave that one like 3.5 stars. Then we read The Bridge Kingdom, which also I rated about 3.5 stars. Maybe this is just a 3.5 video from me. I don't know. With all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I'm going to try to do a bit of Bookmas this year, so subscribe so that you don't miss it. I will be posting a bunch in December. I have a lot of fun video ideas planned, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!